How's it going, everybody? I hope you're all doing well. Okay, so in today's episode, I thought I'd try to say something about the psychologist Carl Jung and his view on the UFO phenomenon. Okay, so when asked if UFOs exist, if they're real, do you know what Jung's answer was? His answer was that he didn't know exactly because he didn't have sufficient evidence, but he knew that the psyche was real. Now, is that changing the topic? Or is it an evasion of the question? Well, no. First of all, in his answer, Jung was questioning the empiricism and the materialism of his time, of our time. What he was challenging was the view that something's real only if it's manifestly physical and so can be measured in the standard ways. So, according to the materialist view, yeah, UFOs are maybe not real, or more accurately, their physical reality is not known. But according to Jung, that didn't make them any less real from the point of view of the human psyche. And that's because, for him, what witnessing UFOs was a projection of the psyche. In other words, UFOs had a psychic significance, one that Jung would say was no less real than the material existence of these supposed objects. So, as one commentator puts it, the real question to ask about UFOs then is not what are they or where do they come from, but what do they mean for us? Okay, but let's back up here a bit and get some context because it's pretty interesting. So Jung wrote about UFOs during the 1950s, and that's a significant time, historically speaking. I mean, to state it very bluntly, the Second World War had just ended, leaving incredible heartache and devastation in its wake, of course. And you had the beginning of the Cold War, the rivalry between the West and the Soviet Union. And you had McCarthyism in America. The point is that the 50s and upwards, this was a fractured and tumultuous time where fear and anxiety ruled. Okay, so given all this widespread insecurity and spiritual distress and psychological disequilibrium, Jung didn't find it at all surprising that people all around the world at the same time would look up to the sky and find occasion to see all sorts of things, miraculous and otherwise. As he himself said, it seems inevitable, given the circumstances of the time, that people would have an insatiable hunger for something extraordinary. And that's what happened. As Jung writes, there were reports reaching us from all corners of the earth of round objects that flash through the sky and go by the name of flying saucers. Now, the important point here is that for Jung, all these rumors and presumed sightings of UFOs, they all have their basis in a vital psychic need. More precisely, they have their basis in a kind of suffering, a psychic dissociation or fracture. So what does that mean? What exactly is at the root of these collective visions? Well, let's first start with these UFO visions themselves. So these purported objects, what they are, according to Jung, are symbols. They're visual symbols expressing some unconscious content. More specifically, they're the breaking through of archetypal images. Now, before I get to what they're possibly images of, let me first go back to this idea of psychic disassociation. So Jung's point here is that we are not whole, psychically speaking. We're too conscious heavy. And so we neglect our unconscious side. Well, given the present conscious situation, a time of fear and anxiety, what the unconscious will do, because it strives for balance, is it will try to compensate by offering experiences that are more uplifting or numinous or even salvational. In other words, it will try to restore to us a kind of wholeness or psychic equilibrium that we've lost. Okay, but now let's get to these visions of UFOs themselves. So what Jung gets us to take notice of is their purported shape. That's to say, they're usually reported to be round or disc-like or spherical, right? And this for Jung is highly significant. And that's because, as he emphasizes in so many of his other works, the circle is the symbol for wholeness and for totality. A symbol which has played an important role in every single age known to us, expressed in things like the mandalas drawn by the Tibetans, to sun wheels, to the ground plans of cities. The larger point is that for Jung, the circle shape as a symbol expresses the totality of the psyche in all of its aspects, a totality composed of both the conscious and the unconscious. Okay, well, so now to get to the significance of the UFO visions. So essentially, what UFOs are, according to Jung, is they're a projection of our psychic content of wholeness. Or to put it another way, visions of UFOs are an attempt by the unconscious collective psyche, by means of the symbol of the circle, to heal the psychological fracture and therefore the collective distress or anxiety that we feel in our age. Or as Jung himself puts it, the UFO psychic phenomenon has a compensatory significance, since it's an answer given to us by the unconscious to a situation of fear. So, in such times of fragmentation and catastrophe, it's natural that we turn to the heavens and look for signs of a reassuring nature. And that projecting our inner state up there, what we see is the archetypal image of the circle. Something round and something complete and something perfect and self-sufficient unto itself. Something not split and wounded, but something integrated and whole. Something calling us back to ourselves, to our soul, to our self with a capital S. The entirety of who we used to be and who we could become again. Bye for now.